Okay, now I'm gonna talk about the JavaScript part of the development of the dashboard. First, the dashboard has only one JavaScript file. It's this one is called script.js, and it handles all the display and refresh of the data fetched from the script uh, of the foo bar of the foo bar. So the first thing the JavaScript files does is animate the SVG file uh, that was added as the logo. Then it loads the Google Charts libraries. Okay, and when it when it ends loading the library, it fires this init function, which is this one over here. And this init function is designed to in order to allow the dashboard to display the information on loading. Otherwise, it will need to refresh the data to print it on the website on refresh. So that wouldn't be nice for usability because when if someone loads it, it won't show any data. So when someone loads it, it fires this init function, and the init function does these things. The first thing it does is fetch the data from the script. Then it creates a constant, and for that constant, it goes into a for each loop. So that takes the amount of tabs that are on the amounts of elements of objects in the array that's defined as tabs in the whole package of the data. So in this case, we have 7 tabs. So it counts 7 objects in that array, and it throws 9 times this function called draw gauge. The function draw gauge is this one here, and what it does is it draws this gauge here. This what's seen here, which the mouse around is. These dial levels, those are the level of each tab, and it's dynamically drawn by JavaScript on the HTML file. So the function is defined only one time, and then it counts the array and it draws it as many times as elements are. It's fire on loading, as I said, and then it's refresh every one. Where's this here? Every second. Okay. So then going back to the init function, after it draws each gauge, it triggers the update function, but that's I'll be back to that one later. It throws these ones that it fires these 3 functions that draw the rest of the graphs of the graphical representation of the data. The first one is draw q, which is this one here. The higher this line is, it means the bigger, the longest this line is, it means that the queue is bigger. So it goes with this number. So 5, we have a bigger line, and when it change, let's wait until it change a little bit. If it change, these bartenders are working super hard, so or they're not doing anything because it doesn't change. There we can see change. So 6 customers, the bar is higher. That comes from draw queue. Then we got the bartender data. Back to the draw queue first. Is this function here, and what it does is take an HBG rectangle and change the width every time the number of the queue gets higher or lower. So we take that number, it multiplies it times 24, and then it adds to the string the prefix pixels, and then it add the attribute to this queue graph here, which is this SB here. We can see here, so it's with 0, but when it change from the data fetched, it's added with this line here dynamically, and then the number is added here. Then we go to the bartender's data function. I'm gonna close this one. The bartender data function is this one here, and what it does is show all the data from the bartender. So it fetches the data is passed by this argument here. It's called data, and then it prints. It changed it changed the status of what's depending on what each bartender is doing. In this part here, it shows the tab that it's using, and if it's not using any tab, it just dims it. And finally, the storage is the last function here. And this draw storage, what it does is that it tells the manager how many kegs of each type of beer are available on the storage. So when it goes low, he knows that how much he has to order to his provider. So that way the provider sells more and everybody sells more, everybody's happy. So yes, this is the draw storage. Finally, I'm going to tell how it updates, because though this is, as I said, drawn on loading, but then to be updated, it fires this function called update. It passes the same argument called data, and the refresh function is here, is update. Okay, so if I can select it, yes, it's this one. So what it does is takes the data here, it fetches again, so this is not needed. I can delete this, but yeah, it fetches again, then and it does the same. It draw the gauge. It fires this function 7 times, as many times as objects in the array are, and it does it with this frequency, which is set it here with this variable. It is 1 second, and this is an anonymous function, and that creates a parameterless. This here, this part here is the more strange part. It creates a parameterless anonymous function which calls each function with the arguments set. So yeah, this argument data. So with this interval, it calls this and it triggers it. So it refreshes it, and we have a sound. It means the time is over. So the time is over. I hope you enjoyed this screencast. Don't forget to follow me, like it, and if you want more, let me know. Film here. This is yeah. Bye.